Well, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome in from across the continent for another exciting broadcast with us here at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. A big number of you are joining us for the first time this year or ever, in which case, welcome to Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. We are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world, and you are catching us on a pretty special day. We started the day with Paul Salopek, who has been walking around the world for over 10 years now. He left mankind's origin in East Africa and is currently crossed over to North America before he journeys all the way to the bottom of South America, one of the truly great journeys on planet Earth. And like all our programs, it is on our YouTube channel. But today, for our broadcast together, it is so exciting because we are diving back in, literally and figuratively, with our friends at OceanWise. Mala Sharma is our educator extraordinaire. I'm going to bring her in just a minute. And just yesterday, she joined us for an epic Arctic Adventures broadcast with over 700 kids. Now, this is a 5-part series. Every day this week at 1 Eastern, we're going to be doing a broadcast with the OceanWise team. And today, we're going in on my favorite topic, which is whales. For any of you who've ever had the chance to see a whale, it's one of the most amazing things you can do on planet Earth. And today, we are going to go and learn about whale tails off the Pacific coast. So without further ado, welcome in again. So nice to see you again, and take us away.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you joined yesterday's session, welcome back to session number 2. And if this is your first session with us, welcome as well. As Jessie mentioned, my name is Mala Sharma. I use she and her pronouns, and I am an educator and coordinator with the education team at OceanWise. Today, we are going to be exploring whale tails of the Pacific coast. We're going to be talking about whales and what in specific it takes to kind of study whales as well. So I hope you're all ready to put on your thinking caps and become scientists, put on your science boots, and kind of take a look and explore at how you can be a whale researcher. Now, just to introduce myself a little bit, again, I use she and her pronouns, and I actually live in Toronto, Ontario. This is the traditional territory of many different nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Huron-Wendat people. This land is also home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. And before getting this program started, I just wanted to honor this land that I'm on and extend my thanks to the communities who have been here taking care of our wonderful land, sea, and sky since time immemorial. Now, one thing that I absolutely love about being an ocean educator is that I get to connect with people all around the world and talk to them about what I love most, which is our incredible ocean. And I know a lot of you folks are probably tuning in from many different places around the world as well. So feel free to message me in the chat and let me know where you're joining from, and I can give you a little shout out as well. In the meantime, while you're messaging me, 2 things about me. I love whale sharks and I love sea slugs, which I noticed yesterday is kind of funny because it's both one of the biggest and one of the smallest animals in our ocean. And I'd like to turn it over to you folks. I want to know about you. Where are you tuning in from? And, what animals do you love the most that live in the ocean?
Ooh, well, on YouTube, we've got some Floridians joining us. We've got Glenview, Illinois here today. We've got some Ontario classrooms. I'm in Corner Brook, Newfoundland. I love whale sharks too. I'm with you. I'd love to see a whale shark. That would be just the coolest thing ever to witness. And beluga whales, we've got as some favorite animals. So you guys are on the ball. Sea otters, awesome options. Oh, this is great. As before.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing answers. I see a lot of sharks, beluga whales, sea otters, of course. Today, we are going to be talking about whales. But before we do, I wanted to introduce OceanWise and the work that we're doing to help protect the ocean. My friends, OceanWise is a nonprofit organization, and we have a mission to empower communities and people like you to take action to protect and restore our world's ocean. How exactly are we doing that? We're focusing on educating and bringing awareness to climate change, overfishing, and ocean pollution. Now, these are our 3 main areas that we want to focus on, but we have a collection of wonderful teams that are working incredibly hard to make sure that we're addressing these issues. And in specific, today, we're going to be talking a little bit about this team over here. We're going to be talking about our whales team in specific. Before we do, I want to know a little bit about you. I want to know which whale would be your favorite, or which whale out of these guys would be your favorite. Are you a beluga whale fan? A humpback whale fan? I do love a humpback whale and a killer whale.
Blue whale. Blue whale is the biggest animal ever to exist on planet Earth ever. Their heart is the size of a car. Their tongue is the size of an elephant. Nothing beats the blue whale. Any other answer is invalid, except for sperm whale, which one of our classes said. They're all good. They're all good answers. However, the more you learn about the blue whale, that should be your pick. And that's my plug of the day.
That is so funny. Blue whales are absolutely incredible. Jesse, you're absolutely right. They are the biggest animals on our planet to ever exist. Bigger than dinosaurs, my friends. These guys are huge. But I have a very, very sweet spot for killer whales. I just think they're so smart, so playful, and honestly, they know how to have a good time. So I'm going to have to argue with you on that and say the killer whale is the best. All right. Now to get started off, I wanted to test our knowledge and see how much we know about our whales that live in the ocean. So I have some fun little whale trivia here for you, and I know we're going to be doing some Kahoot later on as well that you can join. Hopefully we don't repeat questions, but if you do, we'll know who's really paying attention during this broadcast. All right. So getting started off with our first question here. Which one of these animals is the closest living relative to whales? Do we think it could be salmon, the hippopotamus, sea lions, or sharks? Feel free to show us your fingers if you're in a classroom or message us in the chat.
How many fingers? 1, 2, 3. Oh, we got a bunch of 4s. I see. We got some 3s. I got 2. I don't have anyone putting up 1 just yet. Let's see in the chat. 4. 1. Oh, we do have a 1 now. We got everything. Nobody knows. I'm so glad you asked this question. This is great.
We're scattered across the board, it looks like. When I first learned this, I was shocked. But the closest living relative to whales is actually number 2. It is the hippopotamus. They actually had a common ancestor that lived around 55 million years ago. And now that I think about it, whales have something on the top of their body that they use to breathe that looks a lot like the nose of the hippopotamus. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Can you message me in the chat?
What do we think? You guys are such a great chat audience. Again, you got like 2 programs in a row. You've been so lucky. You guys are so on the ball. 4 5s too. If you guys want to chime in, we'd love to hear from you in Toronto as well. Please do feel free to put anything in the chat. Let's see what we've got. Blowhole. So like big nostrils. That's very okay. We're getting a big nod. I think that might be our correct answer.
That is definitely it. The blowhole. I feel like the blowhole and the nose of a hippopotamus looks very, very similar. So I think that might be something that carried on even 55 million years ago they have in common. All right, next question. We have a true or false here. Feel free to show us a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you're on camera, or you can message us in the chat as well. Killer whales are born with whiskers. Do we think that is true or false?
What do we think? YouTube, you guys are chiming in too. Well, Sam, Serena, welcome in, guys. Let's see. Got a lot of thumbs up. True. A lot of thumbs up. People are thinking true. I think you might be getting them on the ball here. This is exciting.
Amazing. Well, you would be correct. It is absolutely true. Killer whales are born with whiskers. Eventually, they will fall off as they become adults. Another really fun fact about them is that they also have belly buttons, just like we do. In fact, you can see it on this tiny little calf right over here. You can see the little belly button on its body. So yeah, they have whiskers and they have belly buttons. All right, next question. Whales can breathe underwater through their gills. True or false? I feel like we kind of talked about this already, but what do we think?
I like it though as a question. So we talked about, what did we talk about with the hippos earlier? They have like a blowhole, a nose, something to take in oxygen from the air. Do whales have those gills? Let's see, Fab 4 5s. What are we thinking? False. Boo. No, they say no. Absolutely not. False, false, false. Everyone's saying false. Great. Yeah.
All right. Well, you got it. It's definitely false. Whales do not breathe through gills. They are not like fish. They are mammals. So for that reason, they are going to come up and use this wonderful blowhole to take a nice deep breath. This is a nose-like feature that they'll have at the top of their head that's going to help them breathe. So that's why we can see them kind of coming up and breaching is what we call it, or you know, they come up to take a nice big breath at the top of the surface. All right, and I think this is the last question I have for you folks. The blue whale is the largest animal that we know that has ever lived on the planet. We kind of talked about this already too, but let's see who was listening.
Let's see. Let's see our thumbs. You guys have so many thumbs. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Yes, yes, yes. Everyone thinks so. Nicely done, classes. You are correct indeed.
You would absolutely be correct. The blue whale is the largest animal that we know has ever lived on this planet. Blue whales can get anywhere from between 24 to 30 meters long, and that is around the size of 3 entire school buses in length. And they aren't just really long, they're also very, very heavy. They can weigh up to 130 to 150 tons, or the same amount as not just one, but 2 entire space shuttles. But what would it look like to be something this big? Or sorry, be something this big, or even see something this big? Can you raise your hand if you would be scared of maybe seeing something this massive in the ocean?
Not at all. Be the
Not at
best.
all.
I
Put
love
me in
this
there,
one.
yeah.
The greatest.
Yeah, no, of course. It can be kind of intimidating to think how huge these animals can get, but blue whales belong to the baleen whale family, and these guys are incredibly gentle giants. There's nothing to be afraid of with these guys. They're super, super sweet, and they're just migrating, swimming around the ocean. My friends, there are so many ways to study and research whales, and it's really important that we do so that we can study how exactly they're impacting our ocean, and how we can protect them better. There are really, really different ways. There are a lot of different ways to research individual whales and these family groups, and different ways to learn about these whales. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple of different ways that we can conduct whale research. But before I tell you how we study whales, I want to know what you think. How exactly would you study whales if you were a whales researcher?
Let's see what our audience thinks. You guys are so good in the chat. 4 5s, Avoca West, any of our YouTube audience. Certainly going out and seeing whales, going whale watching, getting on a boat to go and find them in the natural habitat. But if you want to extend upon that, let's see what we get. You guys are so quick on the draw. I've had the chance to go whale watching a few times now. Oh, when you were out in Newfoundland, did you get the chance to go whale watching too?
I did, in fact, go whale watching, and I was lucky enough to see a minke whale at the very end, and it was truly amazing. Whale watching is definitely something that we can do to study whales. I will pop up a couple different ways that we can study whales. I see somebody coming in the chat mentioning scuba diving.
Scuba diving, going under, counting how many we see, and tracking how many baby whales we see coming in on YouTube. These are some great answers, guys.
Yeah, thank you all so much for your engagement. And you'd be absolutely correct. At OceanWise, we have 3 specific whales that our scientists are studying whales. And some of these might surprise you. The first is very surprising indeed. It's actually through their poop. We use samples of their poop, we use drones, and we use something called a hydrophone to collect data and study whales. Now, I know you might be thinking, ew, how are we using poop to study whales? My friends, poop is very, very important. It gives us a lot of data, and we're going to take a closer look at that right now. Poop is something that we call eDNA, which means environmental DNA. And we can learn a lot of things from poop, like, how healthy a whale is, what its diet is, if that animal is pregnant, if the animal is stressed out. All of these things are things we can learn from just a poop sample. But eDNA also encompasses their breath, or their spit, and anything like that. eDNA is really cool because we let them poop, or we let them spit, or do whatever they need to do in the water. And then we collect it once the whale is gone. So we're not even actually touching or hurting the whale when we do that. So it's a really non-invasive way to make sure that we're collecting data as well. So it's safe for the animals as well. My friends, poop is really, really important, but it means that you have to spend a lot of time on a boat actually scooping poop. This is a video that I have of our friends at OceanWise that are collecting poop. I'll play this for you all, but we literally use a water bottle and we pick up poop from the ocean.
Nice.
Pretty weird. I want to see some thumbs up or some thumbs down if you're tuning in with your classrooms, or you can message in the chat. Would you be able to pick up some whale poop if you had to? Is that something that you would want to do for the rest of your life?
Let's do it. The more the merrier. Let's see what our audience. What do you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down? No poo, lots of poo? No. We're kind of grossed out by the poo. Yeah. That's okay.
No. Oh man, Jesse, seems like it's just gonna be me and you on a boat scooping poop then, I guess. No, no problem. It's all good though, my friends. This isn't the only way to collect research and data on whales. There are so many other ways as well. This is just one. All right. So from poop samples, as I mentioned, we can look at the health of whales and we can see if they're pregnant, well fed, and they're stressed out, right? Thinking about all the ways that we just looked at, there are many different ways that people can kind of learn about whales. And this is just one of the newer, more interesting ways that we can collect data. All right. Next, moving on, we have something called drones. Now, I know a lot of us are familiar with drones. We fly them around, we collect videos and images of, some really cool landscapes and ecosystems. But scientists actually use drones as a really, really important tool in research. What do you think drones would be used for when trying to study whales? How would drones be helpful?
What do we think? 4 or 5? If you guys want to yell out, you can do that too.
Afisha, what do you think?
I think because you can see the whales.
Yeah.
And you could also get really close without hurting the whale.
Look at that. That's a pretty perfect answer, Paula.
I honestly couldn't have said it any better myself. I think we have a future whale researcher in the chat today. That is absolutely right. We can get really close to these animals without actually getting in their personal space and bothering them, which is really, really important because we don't want to stress these animals out and we want to make sure we're not hurting them either. And exactly that, we can take photos and videos. I actually have a video here of our OceanWise team in the field on a boat. This is exactly how we use our drone. We'll fly it over top of an animal that we find. I believe this is a killer whale that we saw. And we videotape it from over top. And while we're videotaping it, we can also take pictures of it. And then we'll use it to ID whales, to track them, and to also measure them. That is all the things that we can use drones for, or just like a couple of things that we can use a drone for. All right, now in order to fly a drone, first we must have a very specific licensing and we have to obtain a permit, which our researchers definitely have. It normally looks something like this, but this permit ensures that, we can fly a drone in the space. Otherwise, it is not legal to invade their space like that. So if you do see a whale in the wild, try to leave it alone. Don't try to get too close. Turn off your boat and just stay still. We don't want to get in its way. But our team does have a special permit to drive or fly a drone over top of whales so that we can collect data. Now, this is an example of how we might use pictures to collect more data on whales. So this is a picture of Eno, of a killer whale that we took 1 year apart. So we took a picture of Eno in 2020 and in 2021 September. And pretty much what we do is we like to compare these images to see if we can see any differences. Now, when we turn them side by side and to the same size and we measure them, we can see that in 2020, Eno was around this size, but in 2021, Eno was this size. And it shows with these lines here, Eno had lost a lot of weight. In fact, a considerable amount of weight had been lost. And that helps us kind of think about, why is this killer whale losing weight and what might the reasons be? So this gives us a research question. And now this is something that we actually saw across the board. This is real research that we did. We actually saw that not only Eno, but a lot of different whales and killer whales in specific were showing these similar trends. A lot of killer whales have been losing a lot of weight in just 1 year. So that makes us think, hey, why are these killer whales losing all of this weight? What could be the problem? Maybe it's something like loss of food. Maybe it's stress. Maybe it's, climate change. Different things can all affect this. So it gives us a research question, and then hopefully we can find a solution for it. Now, another really important use of drones is to identify and name whales. This is so that we can keep track of these individuals. Who here thinks that they would be good at identifying whales? So if you saw a whale, you would be able to see it a year later and be like, oh yeah, that's the same whale. Can you show me a thumbs up or thumbs down?
What do we think, everybody? I know for me that I am not good at this. So, no for me. We got a mixed bag. Some thumbs up, some thumbs down. Yes is on YouTube. Okay, guys, good. That's good to know.
All right, not bad. Well, you know what? Some of you were a little confident. I don't think I could do it. I think IDing the whales is really, really important. So let's test your knowledge. Let's see if you could actually do it. I have a fun whale ID game here. We have 3 whales here. We have 3 whale flukes. And I would like you to match them up to the bottom row. So message us in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and let us know which one you think, which one in the top row matches with the flukes at the bottom.
Ooh, what do we think, everybody? Gator, Dragonface, and Wally. When you're a scientist, too, you get to give whales any name you want. Who's to stop you? Which is very fun. All right, we're getting one is Wally coming through. That's nice. Okay. Yep. Anyone else? What's our other ones? These are pretty distinct ones. I like this. I think I can play this game. 2 is Gator. Okay. And that means 3 is Dragonface. Okay. Those are our options. I think they might be correct in Mixed Michael's class. Nicely done, guys. Yes, same on YouTube. Very good.
All right, well, let's see. Let's see if we got it. I'm going to show us the answer in 3, 2, 1. All right. Seems like you folks got it. Good job. Give yourselves a pat on the back. That means you would be able to successfully ID whales, as long as we have pictures, of course. But yeah, this is something that, whales researchers do all the time. We take pictures of whales and we identify them using these patterns on their flukes. So we'll look at, how much the ratio is from black to white. We'll look at patterns like these polka dots or scarrings or markings. That's how we're going to be able to know which whale is which. And then we can keep track of their migration or their journey and their health overall. All right. Last but not least, whales researchers love to use something called hydrophones to collect data. So this is an underwater microphone that we put into the ocean to collect whale sounds. I have a video here that's going to briefly explain the importance of collecting whale sounds underwater.
Calves depend on their mothers for so long and so strongly. Their ability to stay in contact is key, and they rely profoundly on their sense of sound. Sound is everything to them. Sound is to them what vision is to us. And they are being bombarded by very high levels of underwater noise. It's a little bit like being in fog.
And dropping them into the ocean and collecting frequencies and sounds of whales. That way we can learn about their communication patterns, but we can also try and determine if these whales are stressed out or not. We're actually, whales use something really, really cool called echolocation. And it's pretty much these sonars, this clicking sound that they make. They send this sound into the ocean. It bounces off of a surface and comes back to them. And then they can see it from even miles and miles away. This is actually what echolocation can sound like with dolphins. It's pretty cool. So that's what echolocation can sound like. My friends, using hydrophones is also really, really important because we're picking up how much sound is actually created from humans as well. Human created noise is a really, really big problem for whales in the ocean right now because these sounds get really, really loud. In fact, this is what it can sound like with a ski-doo that's underwater. Now, I'm not sure if you folks can hear that as clearly as I can, but it's very, very loud. Now, what exactly is that sound? It is human-created noise, which is anthropogenic noise, and that's what a small recreational boat will sound like over top of the water. Now, imagine being a whale and trying to communicate with one another, but that's what you hear all the time. It might be pretty stressful. It might be really, really loud. So for that reason, we need to find new ways that we can, reduce the amount of noise that whales are hearing underwater. My friends, whales are at the top of the food chain, and they have a really, really important role to play in the overall health of the marine environment. They actually trap and capture a lot of carbon from the atmosphere. In fact, great whales, which are some of the largest animals on our planet, they sequester, so they trap an estimated 33 tons of carbon dioxide on average. That's around the weight of 4 African elephants. This means that they are playing a really, really big part in the fight against climate change. right now, many whales are threatened by different things like pollution, climate change, loss of food, and ship strikes. But I want to turn it over to you, and I want to know, what do you think are some things that we can do to protect whales?
Ooh, you guys have been such a great audience so far. What do you want to chime in with on how we can protect whales? YouTubers, StreamYard classes, whatever you think might work. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And then soon we're going to be doing our Kahoot together, by the way, before we dive in with questions for Mala. So get your thinking caps on in all manner of ways. Let's see in the chat what we've got. Stop polluting the ocean. Fika, that's fantastic. Yes. Don't put things there that could impact whales in any negative way. Let's see. Don't hunt whales coming through. Fantastic. Yes. If you hunt things, if you take out things that there's not many of, you'll certainly reduce their population. So protecting them by not doing that. Don't use motorboats. Don't use something that might strike them, or at the very least, slow down those motorboats when you're near them so they have time to get out of the way. These are all really good options, guys.
Yeah, amazing answers, my friends. You are all absolutely correct. Some things that ocean-wise that we recommend is, telling your friends and family about what you learned. So, we're all learning today. You can share that knowledge with each other to raise awareness. It helps a lot, because if people don't know that this is a problem, then they won't care to do something about it. So now that you all know what whales are going through and what they're experiencing, you can share that knowledge with your peers and with your family and continue that conversation. The second thing that you can do is, if you are in Canada, you can report a sighting by downloading the Whale Report app. This is an app where you can report live whale sightings, and these sightings will then alert local nearby ships and boaters and captains. And these guys can avoid the route that whales might be on. And then that can help reduce the amount of collisions or noise in the area. So if you see a whale, try to report it. That can make a really, really big difference as well. And the last thing that we can do is buy local. So obviously, we know that ships are a really, really big negative thing for whales. They create a lot of noise, and they actually run into a lot of whales as well. If we buy locally, that means we need less boats on the water trying to ship and transport a lot of goods. And that means less boats that could run into whales, or less boats that are creating noise. So these are just 3 things that we can do to, help reduce the impact on whales. Now, I had another video that I wanted to show you, but it seems like we're running out of time, so we'll skip it. But my friends, I hope you all really enjoyed learning about whales with me. I had such a blast. Thank you to Waves of Change and all of our partners for, partnering with us and giving us the opportunity to teach in your classrooms. If you enjoyed today's program, you can book a virtual aqua class with us by visiting ocean.org/education. And you can book me or some of my colleagues, and we can come in and run a program with all your students. If you want to see the impact that you're having in your life on the environment and on the ocean, you can also download the Commit to Act app, where you can kind of track all the things that you consume and, see right in front of you what you can kind of reduce to make a bigger impact for the ocean. And last but not least, you can also build your own e-card where you can draw or paint or create some sort of message and send it into the government so that you can talk about the change that you want to see for the ocean. Thank you all so much for participating in today's program. I believe we do have a really fun Kahoot now. So I'll pass it over to Jesse before we do some questions.
Nice to leave up that slide, though, so students, anyone can watch this on YouTube later and take your ocean animal quiz. I also like that you had a very meta picture of yourself in another broadcast. That is well played, well played. As you said, we are going to go to our Kahoot. So 4 quick questions, test your understanding of some whales. Some of them we covered. Some might be a little bit different from what we covered today. But all told, we are going to have a little bit of fun with a little quiz before we dive in with your questions. So put your thinking caps on to get those questions in. If you're new to Kahoot, the faster you answer, the more points you get. And what you win is our everlasting respect. So please feel free to play along. And if you don't have any devices to do a Kahoot, or you don't want to do it live, you can just yell out the answers in your class too. That is totally fine. But Mala, just like yesterday, if you want to help us out with any of these answers, feel free to give us little hints or subtly nod at the correct answer. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, drum roll, please. All right, true or false? The blue whale is almost as big as the biggest dinosaur ever. It's a little bit smaller. What do we think? True or false? We talked about this at the beginning. Got this nice sauropod on like a moonlit sort of, I don't even know what that's supposed to be. Night. Let's see. Bigger, smaller, almost as big. Ooh, nice mix. They're bigger than the biggest dinosaur ever. The blue whale dwarfs the biggest dinosaur. It's by far the biggest animal ever to exist on planet Earth. Very cool question, guys. So false is our correct answer. Fabulous Giraffe has our lead, who got it instantly. Way to go, Fabulous Giraffe. All right. Question 2. Whales communicate with one another, or are they just roaming silently alone throughout the seas? Maybe not. What do we think? Now, I'll say this because most of you have your answers in. Blue whales can talk across oceans, and all of you know this is true. We've literally recorded blue whales communicating across the entirety of the Atlantic Ocean and communicating back to one another because their calls are just that loud when sent in the right spot, which is super cool. Oh, see, whales are the best. That's why we're doing this program.
They're so cool.
All right. Question 3. Whale populations worldwide have been doing what in the last few decades? Going way down, going down a little, staying the same, or increasing? Oh, we're tripping people up. We didn't talk about whale conservation much in this. This is an interesting one, and I love highlighting this. This is one of my favorite things to highlight in all of conservation or nature. So the answer, which you'll see in 2 seconds, is increasing. Most of you did not get that. No, so whales are a huge modern-day conservation success story. In the last few decades, we have stopped hunting them by and large around the world. People used to hunt whales all over the planet. And now only a few countries do, and they only do it in very small amounts. So whales are actually making a big comeback. We're seeing humpback whales in New York, in the Hudson River. We are seeing bigger whale populations, gray whales off the coast of Mexico. And we have left whale space. They have started to come back. It's sort of a sign that when we give nature room, it will return. And so that really throws off our leaderboard. Agent Swan takes our lead as we go to our final question. Orcapods have unique cultural hunting techniques. So like different people in different parts of the world do different things. Do different orca groups do different things around the world? What do you think? Yes or no?
This is actually one of my favorite things about killer whales.
Yes, isn't it? Tell us a little more before we bring up our leaderboard. Because they're so
killer
cool.
whales are known for teaching each other their hunting techniques. So the grandmothers and the mothers in pods will teach their babies how to hunt, and then these hunting techniques are passed down through generations. So they're very cultural. They have culture. They have technicality in their hunting, and they teach each other that. It's absolutely incredible.
So cool. So a pod of killer whales in like Alaska will do something totally different to hunt their prey than killer whales off Argentina, and that's true all over the planet. It's wild. All right, Arctic lion is third. Who's second? Dun, 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 dun. Fabulous Giraffe second. And first, just for fun, is, let's see. And of course, if you didn't get any of these right, that's totally fine. That's what learning is all about. Agent Swan gets our Kahoot. Way to go, everybody, for playing along with that. And I hope we taught you some new extra things about whales. So, with all that said, let's dive in with our Q&A, our Fab 4 5s. If you guys want to kick us off with a question, we will come to you to begin. Hello, Western Junior. Hi, guys. Hello.
So we're going to get Declan up. He has a question. So let Declan through. Let Declan through, please, Jackson. You have to let him through. He's coming. We didn't expect it to be first. All right, here we go.
Hey.
Okay.
So, my question today is, what's the smallest whale you've ever had or ever seen?
Ooh. So what's the smallest whale species is what you're asking?
Yeah, smallest one you've seen or smallest one in the world, however you want to take it.
I've actually not seen many whales in real life. The first time I saw a whale was actually this year, but I believe the smallest whale that we have is some sort of like dwarf sperm whale or something like that, which is funny because the sperm whale is also the largest toothed whale that we have. So if it is the dwarf sperm whale, then that means that it's both the smallest and the largest.
Depends on, and some people too think of like dolphins. They're in the same family. So some small dolphins are smaller than a person, or at least comparable size. So you get that, and then you get all the way to the blue whale, the biggest animal ever. So very cool question to kick us off. YouTubers, feel free to chime in the chat too. We've got like 10 minutes together, so loads of time for a nice Q&A together. We are going to go to Avoca West, grade 3's Glenview. Come on in, guys. Take us away.
Come on up, and we may have time for another one.
How many babies do blue whales have at a time?
Ooh, so blue whales are really, really cool. They live all across the ocean and they're going to have around one baby at a time. And it's actually really, really rare for them to have more. So that's why conserving them and protecting them is so, so important, because if we hunt them too fast and they're only having one baby at a time, it's going to be really hard to build those populations back up. So blue whales are going to have one baby.
I'm really glad you mentioned this too, because to my knowledge, unless this has changed in the last year or so, we actually don't know where blue whales have their babies, which is really odd. Like the biggest animal in the world, and we've studied them for years, and we actually don't know where they breed. So I'm going to look into that unless we've gained any new research. But this is the thing. Oceans are huge. There's way more ocean on this planet than there is land. You literally 70%, 7 out of every 10 kilometers on this planet is ocean. So there's a lot of ground to cover, or a lot of water to cover, as it were. Yeah, I like the nursing question. We find a lot of whales will nurse in the tropics. So they'll be near Hawaii, in the sort of Caribbean Sea, and then they'll go up to the Arctic or Antarctic for food, because there's a lot more food at the poles of our planet. So I really, really like that question. We're going to have multiple other questions with our live classes. YouTubers, keep chiming in. Fab45s, we're going to come back to you now. Come on in. Hey.
How many species of whales are there?
Ooh, okay. So I'm not sure if you folks know this, but I want you to show me on your hand, how many types of whales do we have? I'll give you a hint. It can fit on one hand. What are we seeing?
We see 5.
I'll give you a hint.
I'm confused. Tell me more.
Yeah. So we do have 2 types of whales. So we have baleen whales, which are going to include some of the largest animals that we have, like humpback whales and blue whales. These are going to be the whales that have those brushes, or like those bristles inside of their mouth, which is what we call baleen. But then we also have toothed whales, and toothed whales include this guy, the killer whale, beluga whales, dolphins, porpoises. They're all included. Sperm whales, those are toothed whales. So toothed whales, we have a bunch of different kinds of species. I actually don't know how many toothed whales we have, because there's so many different types of porpoises and dolphins.
I just looked it up. 77.
There we go. But baleen whales, we have around 14 species. So a lot less, but they are way, way, way bigger.
If you ever get a chance, classes, and so certainly for our 4-5s in the Royal Ontario Museum has this. For our classes in elsewhere in Ontario, a lot of big museums and science centers will have baleen, but the sort of things that blue whales or humpback whales have as their teeth, quote unquote, if you ever get the chance to hold baleen, it's one of the coolest things ever. It's like a giant, how do you even explain baleen to someone? It's like a...
I always say it's kind of like, it looks like a broomstick.
Yeah.
Right? Like the bristle, or like a toothbrush, but it acts like a pasta strainer. So you're going to pour the water in and the pasta in, and the food is going to get stuck in the baleen, and then all the water is going to push out from the little spaces.
I love it. So yes, hopefully you get the chance to check those out. About 90 or so species of whale total on this planet. So it's a cool question. Thanks, guys. Avoca West, come on back in.
Okay, come on up. Who's next? Go ahead.
How many whales are left in population, not counting in like the zoos?
Ooh, okay. So as Jesse mentioned, luckily whales are making a comeback. We identified that, losing whales was a really, really big problem. So we had to do something about it. So they are doing a lot better now. I don't know how much exactly, but I believe it's around 1.5 million whales exist globally. And depending on the type of species that we're looking at, some of them might still be very, very endangered. But yeah, there's still a lot of whales for sure. And making sure that they're coming back at a consistent rate is very important.
It is, and we're increasing those populations, which is really exciting. It's very hard to assess populations of whales because, again, there's only so many of us that are out in the ocean looking for them, and the ocean's a very, very big place. So it's hard to get those numbers. That's our best guess, and I really like that we got that question. So thanks, guys. All right. YouTubers, you guys have a really interesting question, and I'm going to find that answer for you and share it in the YouTube chat in just a minute. We're going to go back to our live classes because I want to give them as many chances as possible for questions. So 4-5s, we're going to come to you one more time, and then Glenview crew, we're coming to you to wrap up after that. So come on in. Hey, guys.
How do whales have babies?
Ooh.
How do whales have babies?
Yes.
Oh, that's a great question. I actually don't know, but they're gonna, similar to humans, they are gonna carry their babies in their womb. So the mothers will carry their babies to term. But as Jesse was mentioning, we don't know much about them. There's so much to learn still about these animals. In fact, some of these animal scientists are collecting videos of them doing really weird things for the first time ever, as of this last decade. So there's so much that we still need to learn about them, but for the most part, mothers will carry their babies inside of their tummy and they'll give birth to them the same way we will. They're not going to lay eggs, they will be live births.
I'm pretty sure that's what we're going for with the question. So yes, and they're huge. Like a blue whale baby is as big as, I think, multiple elephants, at least one. Like they're just absolutely massive. By far the biggest thing that's ever been born in history, because dinosaurs all laid eggs. So when you have a whale being born, it is titanic. There's some really amazing footage of baby whales and mothers caring for them in Blue Planet 2, which is the best nature documentary series of all time. So if you want to see some amazing baby whale footage, I'll try and find that for you, a nice clip when we're done this broadcast as well. So very cool question, guys. All right. Avoca West, we're going to head to you guys to wrap up. And then if you have any more questions, both classes, please do write them down, share with me. All will get us the answers for tomorrow. I know some of you are joining us tomorrow as well, so we'd love to hear more from you. But come on in Illinois to wrap us up live. Hey.
How deep can whales go in water?
Ooh, so so the deepest whale, I believe, is the sperm whale. The sperm whale goes the deepest, and it normally dives around 2,000 meters deep, which is way deeper than many other animals can go. But I believe it has, on some accounts, gone deeper. To our knowledge, it is around 2,000 meters deep, which is the sperm whale.
Which is unfathomable, by the way. Like if people tried to go that far, we'd be crushed like a little tiny, we'd be the size of a Coke can by the time we did that. You need very, very special submersibles to be able to go down that deep. And so sperm whales have amazing bodies that are able to withstand that huge change in pressure for being so far down. And yes, when they go there in the blackness, they hunt giant squid. It's one of the coolest things in all of nature ever in history. Is these giant toothed whales hunting these giant monster cephalopods out in the darkness. So I'm really glad we got that question. Thank you so much, guys.
I wish I had my ed kit because I have a sperm whale tooth that's bigger than the size of my head. And they're that big because they need to be able to withstand all that pressure. So they're absolutely massive for that reason as well.
If you want to bring in that ed kit tomorrow for any program, I'm just saying, it's pretty cool. Before we wrap up today, folks, I just want to highlight again, ocean.org to learn more about the amazing work that OceanWise does. I'm going to try and find a baby whale clip, as I said, so stay tuned for an email, teachers. Is there any last message you want to share with our classes before we bring in everyone to say a big thank you and farewell?
You normally and throughout the week, I will be telling everybody to stay curious and stay active. But today's theme is whales. So I just want to say, this is such a great positive story in ocean conservation, seeing the amazing comeback that these animals are making. So it just goes to show that, even though we might all be scared and intimidated by climate change and all the scary things that are happening around the world right now, there is hope, and we can all work together to make a change and, bring these animals back and protect our ocean. So continue learning, continue raising your voices and sharing what you learn so that we can bring these animals back and we can all live together on this wonderful blue planet.
No better message than that. I hope all you kids take the opportunity sometime in your life to go out and see a whale in person. It will change you forever. They are truly incredible creatures. And I hope you can join us tomorrow as we continue our epic series with OceanWise. So kids, write down those questions, send them to our email address. I'm going to bring in both our classes to say thank you and farewell. And if you're with us on YouTube, you can yell out and scream at home too. But Fab 4 5s of Avoca West. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye for now.